Welcome to Books, Dreams, and Financial Things, where we talk about marriage, blending our family, finances, and our dreams. We hope while sharing our journey, you can relate and learn with us and from us. Welcome back. I am your host, Renita.
And I am Jermaine.
And today we're going to talk about either books that we're currently reading or books that we are writing or books that we will be writing. I don't know. What are we talking about all of them?
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about the books that we're reading and then, obviously what's going on from there. And we can take it from there.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good. So, I mean, we can start with you since you're currently reading a book. So just kind of give us like what the book obviously is called, the gist of what it's about, and what made you want to read the book.
Okay. So, currently right now I'm reading a book called 1 Million Followers. It's How to Build a Massive Social Following in 30 Days. This book was by Brendan Kane. He's not sponsoring us or anything along those lines, but I got this book. And I guess I want to sort of kind of start with the beginning. So one of the first things that we had was MySpace, correct? MySpace. Did you have a MySpace?
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I didn't know you were around those times, but I bet you probably had the songs, everything going.
Right? I did. My
And
top
so-
8, all that.
Top 8s. Oh, yeah, I remember that. See, I had a MySpace, but I wasn't all that big into it quite. I thought it was sort of kind of dumb. Like, going online, it's sort of kind of stupid. But, and nothing against anyone who has a MySpace, but me knowing your personality, I bet you had it all. You was like serious about it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have it as decked out as some because it was like, if I couldn't figure it out quickly, I would just move on. So I think my background was basic, but
Right.
it was important. I remember the top 8 being important. And then like you can put songs on people's pictures. That was also cool.
Right. So I brought that up to say, I mean, obviously with MySpace, if I'm correct, in order to set the backgrounds and so forth, you're basically coding. You had to learn how to code to develop your MySpace page, correct?
I mean, for the most part, you could just go to a website and
copy.
kind of figure out what
Right.
you wanted to do. And then, it would be like a long code that you copied and
Right.
pasted into your
Your
profile.
thing. Okay. And so I'm pretty sure those of you who are listening and those of you who are watching probably had no idea that MySpace was going to morph into what it has. But nevertheless, as you guys know, obviously, Renita, she has a website, frugallyketo.com. I own a debt collection agency. I have a website, Barrett Asset Recovery Services. We have a YouTube. We have a lot of these things. And so one of the things that I've realized over the course of the time is that growing an audience on these platforms is very important if we want to sort of kind of be successful. And with everything that's transpiring, I mean, obviously, I'm seeing a shift that's happening where everything's sort of kind of becoming digital. I mean, every hour, every day, if not, I don't know one person who doesn't lift up their phone and go on Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram or tweet something or something along those lines, correct? And so as we're trying to build, one of the things I've always said to her, I've always said to our kids is we don't ultimately always want to be consumers, right?
Right.
You want to, create some type of content, create something with regards to that. And so with looking online and doing all those types of things, this book kept coming up. And one of the tricks that I always tell people is you can get the book. I got this book for $7. Typically they have it, get the book for $7. And then you're directed into a funnel. And then, obviously if there's some other stuff that you like on there, you can obviously get that, but you just pay the shipping, you get the book. And this is the book that I got. And this is the book that I am almost done with reading currently right now. And that's why I got this book ultimately.
Because of all our social media.
Right.
platforms.
Social media, trying to learn how to grow it. It's pretty cool. I mean, he explains a lot with regards to Facebook probably being the easiest, according to his according to his belief, and sort of kind of I believe it too. Facebook is the easiest to sort of kind of grow an audience on. Then comes Instagram, then comes YouTube. And then he talks about Snapchat a little bit, and he doesn't really talk about Twitter. But those are the 3 major ones. We're on those platforms, and I figure get the knowledge, get it from an expert. It'll help us cut some of the layers, but understanding that consistency and hard work is going to be the ultimate thing in everything that you do. But yep, that's what it was, and that's what I've gotten so far from this book.
It's also interesting. I mean, I think that the reason why these books are so successful now is because a lot has changed, like pretty quickly, on how to grow pages.
Right.
Prior to meeting you, right when I met you, I had an Instagram. It was more like fashion based, and I felt like it was kind of growing fairly quickly.
Right.
And it was easy to get like features, and that's how you kind of got your audience, because people who had larger followers would post you. And so now it's just different. I mean, the twins have a page, and features they used to get featured all the time, and now they want you to pay them $5, and it's just completely different. So I think that's probably why these books are becoming so successful, and the videos and all that kind of telling you how to grow pages, because the algorithms and all that have just changed.
Right.
And just make it, to be honest, more difficult. And it is like, I know these influencers, that's like their full-time job, and I'm starting to kind of, with my little page, see why, because it does take a lot of time, and it is definitely right now, I would say, a part-time job for sure.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and that's the reality. I think sometimes people look at influencers or people who create content online and so forth. It's something simple. But the reality is, just like anything you do, I don't care. If you want it to be successful, it's going to take a lot of hard work. It's going to take dedication. It's going to take a plan, and it's going to take consistency. Yes. And we're realizing that. Obviously, we have a YouTube page, and I'm seeing how that grows and how things are happening with regards to that, and as well as our Instagram page, which we need a lot more effort and so forth in, and our Facebook page, as well as I've seen with my own eyes, you grow your Frugally Keto page. And so one of the things that I'm seeing is that it takes consistency, it takes a lot of work. But what these books do is it sort of kind of gives you a blueprint, in essence, of things to do that can sort of kind of give you a little shortcut. But the reality is, so that you don't make some of the same mistakes that they made or whatever the circumstance is. But the reality is, it's going to always take a lot of hard work and so forth with regards to that.
Definitely work, like you said, consistency, and then also time. I mean, I think that's another thing that people think. They'll see somebody with over 100,000 people.
Right.
And even me, I'm like thinking, oh, it happened overnight. And then you realize, oh, they've been on here for 6 years.
Right.
They've been on here. I mean, there are people who've been on here maybe a year or a few months, but most people, it's like 5+ years that took them to get to that 100,000, followers or more. So that's something that I keep on reminding myself of, is just staying consistent and doing the work, and it's going to take a minute.
Right. And another thing within the book, and you mentioned paying other pages that have 100,000 followers. I remember we were like, oh, no one wants to pay. But one of the things that is consistent on all those platforms, and one of the things that is an option that he says in order to scale on a large base, is networking. Obviously, just like any other business, networking, and the people that you network with, depending on where they're at in stage and so forth, moving ahead, as well as paying. And, not actually paying for like fake followers or anything along those lines, but growing organically with regards to someone. So if someone has 10,000 followers, you have 1,000 followers, you try and work, you send them, you DM some messages and whatnot, and try and get on their platform. And you got to add some type of value to them, regardless of what it is, whether you're saying, helping them with your followers and so forth. And then you can sort of kind of build from there. But it's the concept is so similar to business and everything that I do with regards to collections. The same thing. You want to buy debt, you got to network, you got to find the right people, you got to get people who you trust, and then you're going to have to pay for what it is that you want. Similar in this, but I know that, obviously we're trying to build to 10,000 followers on all of our platforms across the board. And in order to get that way, obviously it's going to take a lot of consistency, a lot of work, and then some networking as well.
Definitely. Okay, so after you're done with this book, do you have any other books that you...
Yeah, actually, there's 3 other books. I don't know if you guys seen that other podcast, and I briefly mentioned saying that before, but when scrolling through Instagram or scrolling through Facebook, whatever it is that you're doing, there's always those advertisements and something will stand out. And constantly, if I keep seeing the same one, I'll look into the person, Google their name, see who they are, what they stand about, and just paying the shipping pretty much is what it is. Now, there has been some times where someone will hand, hey, $7 for the shipping, and then they might have some other type of program, $20 or $40 for this or something like that to help you out a little more. And depending on the circumstance, I'll do that, because once again, I'll explain to you, if we can go and spend $30,000 a year for college, sometimes even more, and not even for a guarantee, it's just for the diploma, for the option to actually possibly get a job or whatever the circumstance is, I say invest in yourself. Same situation. It's a lot cheaper, but and you can read at your time and do whatever it is that you need to do at your timing. And, obviously you're going to have to apply it, because just reading all those books, getting all that knowledge, if you're not applying anything, then it's almost just as bad as the same. But yeah, I have 3 other books, and I think as time progresses, we'll talk about those coming from there. Now, transitioning. So once again, we're going to talk about, with me, it was a book that I'm reading. With her, she has developed and written her second ebook, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so your first ebook was?
Frugally Keto, How to Keep It Simple. And frugal was more like a beginner's guide to keto and all that.
Okay, great. And so now her second book, what is the title or the name of the second book?
Frugally Keto for the Holidays.
Frugally Keto for the Holidays.
Yes.
Okay. And so what made you want to do a book?
Well, again, I'm, big in different just keto groups, and
Right.
something that I, just like before when I would always see a need for people complaining that keto was too expensive.
Right.
People started complaining that they wouldn't be able to make it through the holidays. Like, oh, what are we going to do? Are we going to cheat? Are we going to do this? And for me personally, last year, I did keto for maybe 2 months, and then the holidays came, and I fell off.
Right.
Because everyone thinks, oh, Thanksgiving is just one day. But that's not really true. You know what I
Right.
mean? You have the pre-cooking that you do prior. Mm-hmm. You have leftovers after. And then it becomes like a snowball effect where you just continue to eat non-keto food. So I was like, okay, well, I felt like there was a need for some type of small, recipe book. I just share a few staples, appetizers, sides, and a few desserts. So people can just stay on track. So maybe there's that one thing that they're just feeling like, if I don't have a keto version of this, I'm going to cheat. Well, hopefully you find it in my book, or you make everything, all 12 items for your family. Of course, I didn't add like turkey and ham and prime rib and all that, because
It's already keto.
right, that's already good. But just some staple items that you can have to keep yourself in ketosis throughout the holidays.
And the great thing is obviously me being her husband, I got to taste some of the foods. And for the most part, I've tasted all the foods in
Right.
general. We've been making all of them. And my favorite dish is I don't want to say it wrong, but it was cauliflower with cheese.
Mac and cheese.
And cheese. But instead of the shells, you use the cauliflower.
Yeah.
And I'm a cheese person. I love cheese. I love cheese very much. And this dish was so good. I mean, the way it was done, even the top was crusted, just like how I like my macaroni and cheese. And to think that I was eating this, and normally every year I'm gorging on mac and cheese, depending on who made it. But obviously, if my wife made it, it's great. And I'm feeling guilty. I'm not gonna lie. I'm feeling guilty.
Right.
Eating the foods, the stuffings, and all those types of things. And I know, when I leave, I'm feeling full. I'm feeling a certain way. But
Right.
with the foods that you're making, it's crazy, because I'll eat it. Not only does it taste good, but at the end, I don't feel sluggish.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so I recommend you guys going in and doing that, getting that book and getting these recipes, because they're just little swaps that she's changing of certain things, and it's keeping it keto, and then you don't have to worry about gaining so much weight during that time span.
Right. I mean, you can, in fact, continue to lose weight throughout the holidays if you are in ketosis. And also, of course, it was important for me to test it to make sure that, of course, my family liked it, but that the next day I would still be in ketosis. And there I was. I used my little stick and was still in ketosis and was able to eat regular Thanksgiving food.
Okay.
The keto
Okay.
version.
And so how do you feel? I mean, obviously, one of the things I sort of kind of want to talk about is obviously everyone's in a pandemic. This is something that's affecting everyone. Everyone's in this pandemic. And the reality is, in some aspects, it's probably been a good thing for our family, a good thing specifically for you in particular, because you were able to get your business started. Now, how do you feel about this being your second ebook that you've written?
I'll be honest, it does feel a lot different. The first time I was very nervous,
Right.
spent a lot more time
Right.
because you're just so scared. This time it just was like almost turning in an essay at school. Like not the final essay, but maybe like the fourth weekend, that essay,
Right.
where it's like it's not going to make or break your grade, but you still want to do well. That's kind of how I felt. I think I'm appreciative to these books because I'm like someone who needs to have some type of creative outlet, and because I was in school for so long, it gives me like these projects that I kind of miss. I know that sounds strange, but I'm so used to having deadlines and projects, so it kind of gives me that feeling of just something to do in that aspect.
Perfect. And see, that's perfect because that rolls into something. And this is something that I believe that every person should have 5 habits. Every single person should have 5 habits, and it rolls into exactly what you were saying. One, our habits, excuse me, I meant hobbies. So every person should have 5 hobbies that they actually dealing with. One is something that's making you money. Number 2, something that's keeping you in shape. Number 3, something that's keeping you creative. Number 4, building knowledge or learning, reading a book or something along those lines, and then evolving your mindset. With your book, with your business, you've pretty much tackled all 5 of those things. And I believe that everybody should have these things and think about it in essence, because what happens is especially during this pandemic time span, people can get mundane.
Right.
People are gaining weight. All these types of things are starting to happen. So go to your website. You can get Frugally Keto, which will keep you in shape.
Right.
You can obviously read one of those books, which takes on that aspect as well. And then it's just constantly keeping your mind creative. What are some things that you do to keep your mind creative and keep it going?
I think it's important in this type of business to just stay relevant.
Right.
So you got to constantly be doing your research. So I'm not just in these groups just to be in these groups. I'm
Right.
listening to the people, if you will. I'm reading the comments because they're telling me what they need.
Right.
Or people are talking about what they're struggling with. So then I'm like, okay, then I need to show more of this. If people have sweet tooth,
Right.
I'm going to show them more desserts.
Right.
And then I'll go in with some dessert that I made, like, oh, here's an option for you. So I feel like that's some way that I stay creative. I just kind of listen to what the people are missing from non-keto food or whatever.
See, and that's so perfect. That makes me think so much of the reality. Earlier today, I remember I was sitting down, and I always say this, to our son Keone, because he definitely understands. I mentioned it to my daughter and my son when I'm speaking to them. Is you don't always want to be a consumer. And if you are a consumer, there's nothing wrong. I mean, we all pull out our Facebook and we go on the app and we're scrolling through stuff. But as you're looking through stuff, what happens is when you become an entrepreneur or you're thinking of creating something, then you're not just looking at everything for entertainment and shutting it down or looking at something and see it. So one person may see a post and may see, oh, this is funny, ha, 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 and go on about their business. The next person may see that same post and be like, ooh, I like the way they created this. Ooh, I like the way this happened. I like the way the aspects and the way the video was and the colors and so forth, and see something in that aspect. And that's what I want to encourage people to do. That's one of the things I find myself, even when I'm watching Netflix or anything along those lines, or if I'm watching Hulu and we have ads. Obviously some of you guys can pay without the ads, but I look at the commercials and I see the setup, and to me it's crazy how there was a time when I would see something and I was like, oh, do I want to buy it? Do I not want to buy it? Now I look at a commercial and it's like, dang, that's creative how they did this, or the music that they have going behind there, or the colors that they have going on. It just makes me think of things so much differently. And that's what I encourage you guys when you're looking at stuff to look at it in a different aspect. Don't just always be a consumer with regards to everything concerning that. So with your book, what is how can people actually get the book if they want this book?
If you would like to purchase this book or my first book, or you're interested in coaching, or you need some macros counted,
Right.
you can go to my website, frugallyketo.com, and either go to appointments or go to services, and then you'll find all my products there. And yeah, or you can join me on my Instagram. I share my daily meals on there, frugally_keto. And I'm probably going to be starting a YouTube channel soon, just
Okay.
kind of showing my different recipes when I'm making them and all that. But
Okay.
that's not yet. So
Right.
check me out on those other
Stay
two.
tuned on that. So yeah. So I mean, I just happen by default, I happen to get to enjoy the keto meals, and they're good. I mean, there was a time when I didn't want to have nothing to do with the keto meals at all, and then as I start seeing myself gain weight and so forth, I wanted to jump into that, as well as we have some other projects concerning me actually going through some coaching from her as well. So you guys stay tuned for that. Anything else?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Okay, perfect. So be sure to check out her book on. It's just for the holidays, so I know Thanksgiving's like this Thursday. I believe this podcast won't come out till next Tuesday, but it's not just Thanksgiving. The holidays, obviously, you know, Christmas. A lot of
Easter.
times,
I mean, whenever you're joining with your family to have a big, celebration where we're eating a similar type of holiday food,
Right.
this book is perfect for that.
Okay. So, thank you guys for listening. We love you guys, each and every one of you guys. Be great.
Bye-bye.